Now abides faith, hope, and love. You know, when God gets involved in your life and when you begin to look at His promises, hope begins to spring forth. Over in Ephesians chapter 1, so how do we develop hope? How do we get out of the funk, and how do we get into a place that we're excited about the things of God again? Well, you know, the Apostle Paul prayed in Ephesians 1, 17 and 18. He says, I'm praying that the eyes of your understanding would be enlightened. Okay, now what he's talking about is your imagination, the things that you see. You see things, you envision things in your mind, you envision things as you think. You know, depression, fear, all those things come from imagining bad things happening, expecting bad things happening. But God says, I have now, because of what Jesus has done, now you can have an expectation of good. He says, so I want the eyes of your understanding to be enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of His calling in Christ Jesus, and what the riches of the glory of His inheritance in the saint. In other words, as I start learning about what Jesus has done, as I look to Him, the great hope, the blessed hope, as I begin to look at the promises of God, as I begin to fill my mind, fill my heart with those images, that's not for somebody else, that's for me. God's called me to great and wonderful things. Hope will be developed, and that's life in 90.